and they would just buy them, and down we'd go, and we'd have crayfish or crawfish on the weekend. I can't speak highly enough of it. I don't know that we can get it terribly easily in Lewis, but there we are. Perhaps what we should do is, if people wanted to get behind something, is let's bring crayfish to Lewis and make it our national, or at least our town food. And then we would certainly start to put our heads above the parapet, and everybody in the country, everybody in the world would probably say, "Hey, Lewis, the crayfish capital." Well, I doubt that that's going to happen, but still, it's a thought. It's one of the daft thoughts that we have. Silly nonsense. I know what my vision is for this town. I really don't dare mention its name, but by the same token, the sad thing is, that we've got people in leadership is, I got a great idea. Who do I talk to? Well, is there somebody I can actually phone? Well, go to the website. There's nothing that says bright ideas or let's hear what you're thinking. That would be too democratic. And anyway, we don't want the people with bright ideas getting involved in government. We are far too staid. We got it made, thank you. We got power and we're not releasing it to anybody. And anybody with bright ideas is always a challenge. Anyway, there we go. You can see where my mind goes to. Really, it's about time that we uprooted this town and stood it on its head. After all I've just said about how visitors see it, and visitors do see it as twee. My late wife was Canadian, and I have a large, sort of very distant Canadian family. And from time to time, I get an email that one of the children, the new generation, are coming through, and we'll look after them for a day or two, or a week or two, or whatever. And of course, we're only too happy to do so. And when they come, they are all enchanted with Lewis. And so they should be in some ways. First of all, it's got a high street. Even though it's under pressure, it's got a high street that's still a high street. It's not full of sort of chains and so on. Yeah, we've got some, but it's not full of them. And we've got strange buildings. And there is an organisation called Friends of Lewis, I think it is, who have made sure that changes are put under very strict observance. Sometimes, commercially, that gets very irritating. But by the same token, the character of this town has been saved. And it's a lovely, lovely town. And if you've not been here, do come. I don't know what was going on Sunday, because I was walking home from church, via the pub, of course, and suddenly the parking lots were just jamming up, and all sorts of families were coming out. Were they just coming to take a look at Lewis because of lockdown? Or was there something on? I didn't determine, but there was plenty of people around taking a look, and taking a look through fresh eyes is just marvellous wherever you go. I'm an inveterate traveller. I've been to 60 countries in the world, and I've worked in 40. I've lived permanently, if you want to call over 6 months, in about 8. 10 probably. And I keep going to places with the promise of it's only for a month, Keith, and ending up there 5, 10, 15 years. It's happened to me in Northern Ireland. Will you go to Belfast for 2 months? Okay, I go to Belfast for 2 months. And then what happens is I end up staying there for 15 years. Well, I'll be damned. Mind you, I was very lucky in Belfast because I also had a commission outside of broadcasting with British Airways. And I was able to fly to all sorts of different parts of the world. And I went on Concorde 6 times. Oh, most people often wish that they could have gone on once. I was really privileged. But there we go. That's the life of an adventurer. You never quite know what's going to be next. And you never do with Rouser Radio. You never know what's going to be next. Or, for that matter, Mirador Television. And just an inkling that this week we are moving. We've got a little place to set up a studio. And hopefully by next week we'll be all set up so that I can leave the home at 5:30 in the morning and go over and broadcast from a nice little studio. It's not going to be exactly a studio. It won't be behind plate glass. It won't have those niceties, but it will be a dedicated place for broadcasting, and we can get on with doing things there that we couldn't do where we're broadcasting out of the backs of our houses, particularly happened in lockdown. So watch out. Mirador Television, miradortelevision.com. You can see it on Roku, and we hope that before September the 17th, we are going to rejig the programs. So it'll be quite a change. That'll be quite a change on Rouser as well. But we do plan a restructuring of the programs and what we do. So stay in touch with us up to the 17th and watch because we will be piloting some things just to see how they work out and whether anybody laughs or giggles. Because we actually looked at lockdown. We looked at what's happening. And even this morning, there are stories on television and in the paper of people that have been driven almost mad because they've been locked down. So I said to my little group of friends and colleagues, what should we be doing at Mirador? And I came up with a suggestion that what we are selling are giggles. And there was a look of relief around the place. I think they thought I was going to be serious. But yes, what we try to do is to sell giggles. Giggle with us. Because in morose times and when you are being driven mad, perhaps we can give you a little laugh, a little bit to think, oh, well, it's not such a bad place out there, and that you can laugh with us. And luckily, I'm surrounded by friends and colleagues who are like me. We don't mind making idiots of ourselves. We don't mind doing stupid things. We don't mind looking foolish if it gives somebody else a giggle. And that's what we aim to do. Oh dear, 21 minutes and 42 seconds into this programme, and it's now 6:51 in Lewis. And where is it? What time is it where you are? Well, if you're in the rest of the UK, I think that we're on the same time zone. The meridian goes through Lewis, by the way. There we are. You can put one foot in one time zone and another foot in the other. And half of you is 24 hours older than the other. In theory, anyway. Okay, right. So you see how daft we are. Let's see what else I came up with this morning, because I was looking for something that was a bit... let's see. A new beginning. No, that one was... let's see. Oh, I don't know. See you on the other side. I wonder what that's about with the 126s. Oh, let's have a little listen. Yes, I sort of like that one. The 126ers are quite prolific. Some of the stuff that they do is really very good. And it's stuff that you won't hear a great deal elsewhere. But those of us who use the YouTube audio library, which gives us these free of any charge or copyright, like to recognize those people with the sort of talent where they post these things for free, just so that hopefully people will listen to them. 126ers are very good. Some of their stuff is really good. Perhaps what we'll do is we'll have a 126ers festival one day, play a lot of their stuff. Why not? Why not indeed? Nobody else does stuff like that. But you know, what I don't understand is I start to chat and I start to talk, and suddenly the time has gone. It's 6:56. We've been on the air for 26 minutes and 14 seconds. And we've been talking about Lewis this morning, and I haven't mentioned the virus once. Yes, I have. I've mentioned it 3 or 4 times. It is creeping up. Do be careful. Don't throw away the freedoms that we've now got by being able to go out, by being damn silly and starting a second virus. First of all, I don't think that many people realise that the country is almost broke because of what the money that's been splashed by government. I didn't get any of it, by the way, but they've splashed out money left, right, and centre. And the fact of the matter is that if we go through another period as bad as that, the money isn't going to be there. So don't get your expectations that you're going to get onto a paid holiday again. So behave responsibly. If you go to the beach and realise that you've got to keep your distance. If you go to the park and realise you've got to keep your distance. And if you go to the pub, don't expect it to be the pub that you used to go to. But it can be fun anyway. It can be just okay, you can't belly up to the bar. But you can still shout across the pub. Hello, George. Hello, Nancy. How are you? And why not? Okay, this is Rouser Radio. I haven't got time to play anything else, but perhaps what I would do is, instead of playing our dear old Ben Sound Buddy as we go out, we'll play something that we like. I like. Oh, yeah, actually, I keep on saying that this is a radio for local Lewis, but we, in the television sense, are the biggest little TV in the world. We only broadcast now to a couple of thousand or so, but potentially through Roku and through the addition of other streaming devices, we are soon going to be able to have something like about 200 million people at our fingertips. Only need a few more, but we've got the potential of 2 million. So for this potty little television station, this potty little radio station in the potty little town of Lewis, is potentially we can speak to the world. And we do. We get responses from places like Patagonia, from the west coast of British Columbia, from one of the inside states, Ohio, I think it is, and from Stoke-on-Trent. And all those people who actually listen in to both this and the television. God bless you, because eventually we'll not be the smallest, biggest television station in the world. We'll start to spread the word. And there's some interesting words. So what is that leading up to? Yeah, I'm going to go out with my favourite. Sorry, kept us going during the war, and why not? Rose, Rose, I love you. Till tomorrow, Keith Hayes, Rouser Radio in Lewis. Toodle pip.